Harry's hands felt clammy as he stared at Hermione's last message. Who are you? She knew. Maybe not everything, maybe not Hogwarts, but she felt it. His fingers moved quickly. Harry, I can't explain over text. Can we meet? Please, just for a few minutes. Three dots appeared. Then they vanished. Then they reappeared. His breath caught. Finally, a response came. Hermione, I don't meet strangers. Harry swallowed. He had to convince her. Harry, I know things about you. About Hogwarts. About magic. If I'm crazy, then you'll know right away. But what if I'm not? This time, the pause was longer. Then, Hermione, fine. 1 hour. Cafe on Maple Street. Don't be late. A jolt of adrenaline shot through him. He barely managed to type back a quick thank you before grabbing his coat and hurrying downstairs. His parents were in the living room, their voices low. The moment James Jr. saw Harry, he stood up. Where are you going? Harry kept his expression neutral. Just out for a bit. James Jr. narrowed his eyes. I'll come with you. No, Harry said quickly. Too quickly. Lily frowned. Harry, you just woke up from a coma. You shouldn't be running around. Harry forced a smile. I won't be long. Before they could argue, he stepped out the door, his heart pounding. The cafe wasn't far, but every step felt heavier than the last. What if this Hermione didn't remember anything? What if she thought he was insane? But deep down, he knew. She wouldn't have agreed to meet if she didn't feel it too. When he arrived, he scanned the small cafe. Then he saw her. She was sitting in the corner, her brown eyes sharp and guarded. She didn't look like the Hermione he remembered. No Hogwarts robes, no books stacked beside her. Just a normal girl in jeans and a sweater. But the moment their eyes met, something passed between them. Recognition. She didn't stand. She didn't wave. She just stared. Slowly, Harry walked over and sat across from her. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Hermione leaned forward, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know who you are, she said. But I've had dreams. Dreams about a school. A castle. People I've never met. Her fingers tightened around her cup. And I don't think they're just dreams. Harry exhaled shakily. It wasn't just him. Something was wrong. Harry's pulse pounded in his ears as Hermione's words settled in. She remembers something. Not everything, not like he did, but enough. Enough to know this wasn't just some random coincidence. He leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. Tell me about your dreams. Hermione studied him, her expression calculating, as if she wasn't sure whether to trust him. Why should I? She asked cautiously. Harry hesitated, then decided to take the risk. Because I remember too, he admitted. Not just in dreams. I remember everything. Hogwarts, magic, Dumbledore, Voldemort. He swallowed. I remember you. Her fingers twitched at the name. Voldemort. That wasn't something an ordinary person would react to. Hermione shifted uncomfortably. I don't know who you are, she said, but there was doubt in her voice now. But I've had these dreams my whole life. A castle. A boy with glasses. A red-haired boy. A giant. Magic. She exhaled sharply. It feels real. But that's impossible, isn't it? Harry shook his head. What if it's not? Hermione stared at him, her breath shallow. Then she asked the question that had been haunting him since the moment he woke up. If it was real, then what happened to it? Silence stretched between them. Harry gripped the edge of the table. That's what I'm going to find out. Hermione's brows furrowed, but before she could respond, a strange sensation crawled up Harry's spine. A feeling of being watched. He turned sharply, scanning the cafe. A man in a dark coat sat at a nearby table, pretending to read a newspaper, but Harry saw it. The slight shift of his eyes. The tension in his posture. They weren't alone. Someone was watching them, and Harry had a sinking feeling that whoever it was didn't want them remembering the truth. Harry's muscles tensed as he locked eyes with the man. For a split second, the stranger didn't react. Then, as if realizing he'd been caught, he quickly turned the page of his newspaper, pretending to read. But Harry wasn't fooled. Hermione must have noticed his change in expression because she whispered, What is it? Harry didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned forward, lowering his voice. Don't look now, but there's a man watching us. Hermione's eyes widened slightly, but she kept her composure. Are you sure? Positive. A quiet tension settled between them. What if it's just a coincidence? She asked, but there was uncertainty in her tone. Harry shook his head. No. The moment I caught him staring, he tried to act normal. It's too deliberate. Hermione swallowed. So what do we do? Harry thought fast. If this man was watching them, it meant something, or someone, didn't want them to keep digging. Which only meant one thing. They were on the right path. Let's leave, he said, keeping his voice calm. Act normal. Head for the door like we're done here. Hermione nodded slightly. Without another word, they both stood up, collected their things, and walked toward the exit. Harry fought the urge to look back. His entire body was on high alert, every nerve tingling. As soon as they stepped outside, Hermione whispered, "Did he follow us?" Harry risked a glance over his shoulder. The man was gone. Panic surged in his chest. He left. Hermione frowned. That's good, isn't it? No, Harry said, his voice low. That means he doesn't need to watch us anymore. A chilling realization settled in. If someone was keeping an eye on them, they weren't just being observed. They were being monitored. And if the man didn't need to follow them anymore, it meant that whoever was behind this already knew what they had discovered. And that was far worse than being watched. Harry's stomach twisted with unease. The man hadn't followed them, but that didn't mean they were safe. Hermione must have sensed it too, because she pulled him toward a quieter street, away from the cafe. What now? She asked, her voice low. Harry exhaled, trying to think clearly. If someone's watching us, it means we're onto something. But we don't even know what yet. Hermione folded her arms, her expression sharp. Then we need to find out. Harry nodded. First, we need a safe place to talk. Not here. He hesitated. Your house. Hermione looked uncertain but nodded. Fine. But we take the long way. Just in case. They walked in silence, keeping an eye on their surroundings. Every passing car, every stranger on the sidewalk felt like a potential threat. When they finally reached Hermione's house, she ushered him inside and locked the door. The moment they sat down in the living room, she turned to him. Start talking. Harry ran a hand through his hair. I don't know how, but I remember Hogwarts. I remember magic. Everything about it feels real, more real than this life. He paused. And now you're saying you've had dreams about it too. Hermione bit her lip. Not just dreams. Sometimes I wake up and feel like I've lost something. Like there was a whole other life that's just gone. Harry leaned forward. That means it wasn't just in my head. We're both connected to it. But why don't we remember everything? Why only pieces? Hermione frowned, deep in thought. Then, softly, she asked, what if we're meant to forget? The words sent a shiver down Harry's spine. What if something or someone erased it from us? She continued. What if we weren't supposed to remember at all? Harry swallowed hard. Then that means there's something out there they don't want us to find. A heavy silence fell over them. Then bang. A loud knock at the door. Hermione's breath hitched. Harry shot to his feet. Another knock. Firm. Insistent. A voice followed, muffled but clear. Miss Granger. Mr. Potter. We need to talk. Harry's blood ran cold. Whoever they were, they knew exactly who he was. Harry and Hermione froze. The knocking came again, sharper this time. Miss Granger. Mr. Potter. Open the door. Harry's heart pounded. They knew their names. They had been watching them. And now they were here. Hermione shot him a panicked look. What do we do? She whispered. Harry's instincts screamed at him to run. But there was nowhere to go. Then Hermione did something unexpected. She grabbed his wrist and yanked him toward the stairs. Come on. They rushed up, Hermione leading him into her bedroom before quietly shutting the door behind them. Below, the knocking stopped. A chilling silence followed. Then a soft creak. Harry felt his stomach drop. They're inside. Hermione's grip on his wrist tightened. Her breathing was shallow. How? She mouthed. Harry shook his head. It didn't matter. They had to move. He scanned the room. No other exits except the window. It was a 2-story drop. Doable but risky. Hermione seemed to come to the same conclusion. She moved toward the window, slowly unlocking it as quietly as she could. Footsteps echoed from below. Slow. Careful. Then, a voice. I know you're here. Harry clenched his jaw. The voice was calm, almost patient, but there was something off about it. Hermione pushed the window open. The cold night air rushed in. Harry didn't hesitate. He swung a leg over the ledge, gripping the edge tightly before lowering himself down. Hermione followed, her breath shaky. Then, just as Hermione dropped down beside him, the bedroom door burst open. They didn't wait to see who it was. They ran, down the empty street, through alleyways, their footsteps pounding against the pavement. Harry didn't look back. He didn't need to, because he could feel it. Someone was chasing them, and whoever they weren't going to let them go. The cold night air burned in Harry's lungs as he ran. Hermione was right beside him, her breath quick and uneven. They weaved through alleyways and side streets, trying to shake off their pursuers. But the footsteps behind them never wavered. Harry dared a glance over his shoulder. A shadowy figure was gaining on them, moving unnaturally fast. Too fast. His heart pounded. They're still coming. Hermione's eyes darted around frantically. This way. She pulled him into a narrow passage between two buildings, pressing them against the cold brick. They stood frozen, barely breathing. The footsteps slowed. A chilling silence followed. Then, the figure stopped just outside the alley. Harry could only see the silhouette from the dim streetlight. Tall. Still. Watching. Then, in a voice just loud enough to reach them, the figure spoke. You can't run forever. Harry felt Hermione stiffen beside him. The figure took a step forward. Harry grabbed Hermione's hand. No time to think. He turned and bolted, pulling her with him. The passage opened into another street, and they ran without stopping, without looking back. Finally, after what felt like forever, they stumbled into a quiet park, breathless and exhausted. Harry bent over, hands on his knees. Who the hell was that? Hermione shook her head, panting. I don't know. But they knew us. And they knew we'd run. Harry straightened, his mind racing. We can't go home. If they found you once, they'll do it again. Hermione nodded, her face pale. Then where do we go? Harry clenched his fists. Somewhere they won't expect. A thought formed in his mind. A place he hadn't been in years, but one that still felt like home. The leaky cauldron, he whispered. Hermione's eyes widened. You think it's real? Harry's jaw tightened. Only one way to find out. And with that, they disappeared into the night, heading toward the one place that might finally give them answers. The streets were eerily quiet as Harry and Hermione moved swiftly through the city. Their nerves were on edge, every shadow feeling like a threat. Hermione shot him a worried glance. Harry, what if the leaky cauldron isn't there? Harry swallowed hard. He didn't have an answer. He remembered the pub so vividly. Its dim lighting, the scent of butterbeer, Tom the barman polishing glasses behind the counter. It felt real. More real than anything in this world. And yet, was it just another dream? We have to try, he said firmly. After what felt like forever, they turned a corner onto a familiar street. Harry's heart pounded. There it was. Or wasn't. A rundown brick building stood in the place where the leaky cauldron should have been. No sign. No windows. Just an empty, lifeless husk. Hermione inhaled sharply. It's gone. Harry's stomach twisted. No, that couldn't be right. It had to be here. He stepped forward, pressing his hand against the old brick wall. It was solid. Cold. Nothing happened. No secret doorway. No magic. Just reality staring him in the face. Hermione put a hand on his arm. Harry. He shook her off. No. This doesn't make sense. It has to be here. He pounded his fist against the wall. Once. Twice. Still nothing. His vision blurred with frustration. Had he imagined everything? Was this world the only reality after all? Hermione exhaled shakily. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it really was just a dream. Harry turned to her, desperation in his eyes. Then why do we both remember it? Hermione hesitated. And in that moment, a voice behind them said, Because someone doesn't want you to. They spun around. A woman stood a few feet away, watching them. She was cloaked in shadows, but Harry could make out sharp eyes, long dark hair, and an air of quiet authority. Harry's pulse quickened. Who are you? The woman stepped closer, her voice calm but firm. Someone who remembers the truth. Harry and Hermione exchanged a look. For the first time since waking up in this world, they weren't alone. Harry's breath hitched. His mind raced with 1,000 questions, but only one came out. What truth? The woman studied them for a moment before glancing at the abandoned building behind them. Not here. We're being watched. Hermione tensed. By who? The woman's eyes darkened. By the same people who don't want you to remember. A chill ran down Harry's spine. He took a step forward. Then tell us. We remember Hogwarts. We remember magic. But this world says none of it ever existed. His fists clenched. Why? The woman hesitated before nodding. Come with me. Harry and Hermione exchanged a wary glance. Following a stranger wasn't exactly the safest move, but what choice did they have? The woman turned sharply and walked away. Harry and Hermione trailed behind, keeping their heads low. She led them through winding streets, past dark alleys, until they reached an old bookshop tucked between two towering buildings. A faded sign above the door read Gideon's Books. The woman pushed the door open. A soft chime rang as they stepped inside. The air smelled of aged parchment and ink. The shop was dimly lit, packed with towering bookshelves, but there wasn't a single customer. The woman locked the door behind them. We should be safe here. Hermione eyed her cautiously. Who are you? The woman finally turned to face them fully. My name is Evelyn Drake, and I know why you remember. Harry's heart pounded. Then tell us. Evelyn took a slow breath. Because Hogwarts was real. Magic was real. Your life, everything you remember, it all existed. Hermione's eyes widened. But, Evelyn held up a hand. But something changed. Something wiped it all away. Not just from you, but from everyone. Harry felt his stomach drop. What do you mean, wiped away? Evelyn's gaze was unreadable. This world you're in? It's not the real one. Silence. Hermione's voice wavered. Then what is it? Evelyn's expression darkened. A prison. Harry's blood ran cold. A prison built to keep you from ever going back. A heavy silence filled the room. For the first time, Harry felt like he was standing on the edge of something far bigger than he'd ever imagined. And he wasn't sure he was ready for what came next. Harry's heart pounded in his chest. A prison? He stared at Evelyn, his mind racing. What do you mean? Who built it? Why? Evelyn crossed her arms, her sharp eyes scanning the dimly lit bookshop. Because someone wanted to erase the world you knew, to trap you in this one. Hermione swallowed hard. But why us? Why do we remember if no one else does? Evelyn hesitated. Then she pulled a worn leather notebook from her coat and set it on the counter. Because you were never supposed to forget. Harry and Hermione exchanged a look before stepping closer. Evelyn flipped open the notebook, revealing pages filled with scribbled notes, symbols, and old newspaper clippings. One headline made Harry's breath hitch. Boy who lived missing, no trace of Harry Potter found. His hands trembled as he reached out and touched the faded ink. This isn't real. Evelyn's voice was calm but firm. It was. Before you were taken. Harry jerked his head up. Taken? Evelyn nodded. You and Hermione are anomalies. The spell that erased the real world didn't work on you the way it should have. Your memories were buried, but not destroyed. She exhaled. And now they're waking up. Harry's head spun. It didn't make sense. It was insane. But deep inside, something told him she was right. Hermione gripped the counter. So, you're saying Hogwarts was real, but someone made the entire world forget it? And they trapped us in this fake one. Evelyn nodded. Harry's jaw tightened. Then who did it? Evelyn hesitated. I don't know who, but I know how. She tapped the open notebook. A spell. One powerful enough to rewrite reality itself. And if we don't find a way to break it. She didn't need to finish. The weight of her words settled over them like a thick fog. Harry clenched his fists. He had spent weeks feeling lost, confused, helpless. But now? Now he had a purpose. We need to find out who did this. His voice was steady, determined. And we need to undo it. Evelyn gave a grim smile. Then you need to be ready. Because if they realize you remember. Her gaze darkened. They'll come for you. The weight of Evelyn's words pressed down on Harry like a vice. They'll come for you. Hermione's breath hitched. Who are they? Evelyn's gaze flickered toward the bookshop windows, as if expecting someone to be watching. I don't know exactly, but they're powerful, and they don't want the truth getting out. Harry's hands curled into fists. Then we don't have time to waste. We need to find a way to break this spell. Evelyn hesitated, then opened her notebook again. She flipped through pages filled with frantic scribbles and diagrams until she stopped on one. an ancient-looking symbol surrounded by Latin text. This, she said, tapping the page, is the key. Hermione leaned in, reading. Obliviones Eternum. Eternal oblivion. Evelyn nodded. The spell that wiped out your world. It's more than just memory alteration. It erased reality as you knew it and replaced it with this one. Harry felt a cold dread settle in his chest. How do we break it? Evelyn's jaw tightened. That's the problem. To undo it, we need the original caster. And if they're powerful enough to rewrite reality. They won't let us find them, Hermione finished grimly. A silence stretched between them. Then Evelyn sighed. But there's someone who might know where to start. Harry and Hermione both snapped their heads up. Who? Harry demanded. Evelyn hesitated. He was part of the resistance before it all crumbled. He was one of the last to remember the truth. She closed the notebook. His name is Regulus Black. Harry's breath caught. But Regulus is dead. Evelyn gave him a knowing look. In your world, maybe. But in this one, she leaned forward. He's very much alive. A shiver ran down Harry's spine. Nothing made sense anymore. And yet, deep inside, he knew this was the path forward. If Regulus Black was still alive, then maybe, just maybe, they had a chance to set things right.